Buongiorno, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a house review and I'm going to do a full review of all the fragrances from BDK Parfums. I did already a first impression video which I will leave linked up here, so if you want to watch it. So now I had the chance to play with all the fragrances except of one, Oud Abramat, which was sold out when I placed my order. So I will tell you all about longevity, sillage, and when it's suitable. And I will go in order from my least favorite to my most favorite from the house. My least favorite is Nuit de Sable. I actually hate this fragrance. I don't like it at all and I don't understand it. It has a lot of notes. I mostly get sandalwood and a little bit of rose. And some really strange note. I think it's sand note. It just smells like nothing. I don't know. And so I can't recommend this fragrance for anyone, and especially that longevity and sillage is really not so good. So yeah, Nuit de Sable is just a no in my opinion. Next we have French Bouquet. This is your Chanel No. 5 type of a fragrance. It's a vintage fragrance, so it has a lot of aldehydes, which gives this soapy clean vibe. Yeah, I just don't like it. It has also a lot of florals, but the aldehydes just overwhelms everything. So if you are a lover of aldehydes or vintage fragrances, or maybe you like Chanel No. 5, maybe try this one. Yeah, I'm just not into vintage fragrances and I don't like aldehydes. So yeah, it's not for me. Again, longevity and sillage is just not so good. So this is why it's really low on my list. Next is Kage Queer. And I'm really torn about this fragrance because it's quite unique. It's mostly a fruity leather with some musk. I never smelled anything similar to this one. I have a lot of fruits like pineapple, oranges, and I think also grapefruit. It has a sweetness to it. The suede is not off-putting. This is why I am really torn about it. It's unique and pleasant, but it's not something that I would buy. It's unisex, leaning a little bit masculine. So on my skin, the fruitiness or like the sweetness doesn't come out so much like on the paper. Yeah, I am really torn about this one, and it's really low on my list also because of the longevity and sillage, which is actually an issue with a lot of BDK perfumes. Unfortunately, because a lot of them are quite nice. So this is one that you will have to test for yourself. It's not everybody's cup of tea. This fragrance I really can't recommend. I don't know to whom I would recommend it because it's not quite leathery. It's not so fruity. It's, yeah. You will have to test this one for yourself. Next is one that a lot of people love, and this is Gris Chanel. I think this is the favorite of Demi Rolling, if I'm not mistaken. And this is an oriental spicy with figs. You don't get the figs on the paper actually, so this one you have to test on your skin, because on paper I don't get the figs so much, but on my skin I really notice the fig note. At first when you spray it, you get a little bit of a masculine touch because I think of the cardamom. In the dry down, it's a very smooth, nice, figgy, sweet, warm, nostalgic fragrance. I know it's a strange description, but this is how I see this fragrance. I see like a picture in sepia colors. It has something very nostalgic to it. It's not love at first sniff. So this is kind of a fragrance that you would have to play with. The dry down of this fragrance is very addictive. So you would wonder why, if I am giving it such a good review, I have it very low on the list, because it gave me a headache. At first, I didn't thought it was the fragrance, because usually I get headache with green notes in fragrances. When I tried it again, I noticed I got a headache again, so I know it was the fragrance. This one has a moderate longevity and sillage, and it's a very likable scent, in my opinion. yeah, it's very difficult to dislike. It's the only, as I said, my only issue with it is that it gave me a headache. This is more of a feminine fragrance. Although I think also men can pull it off, but it's mostly feminine, in my opinion. So that was Gris Chanel. Next is Sal Darshan. And this is an aquatic, salty, fresh summer fragrance. At first, I thought it was quite masculine, but in the dry down, I can tell you it's perfectly unisex. So it has salt, it has bergamot, I think, and grapefruit, some like citrusy notes. What you will mostly get in this fragrance is ylang ylang and salt. There's also Izu Super and Ambroxan, which gives it a little bit of a woody note. Longevity and Sillage is just like your typical aquatic fresh summer fragrance. This is not why it's low on my list. It's low on my list because it's a lack of uniqueness. So it's a very nice, pleasant fragrance, but it's not mind-blowing. So this is why it's low on my list. So that was Sal Darshan. Now we are getting to more fragrances which I struggled where to put it on my list. And this one was one of the most difficult one. This is Wood Jasmine. It's a very, very unique fragrance. And this is one of my favorites from the brand. It's a very balsamic jasmine. I know a lot of people say they don't get the jasmine. I actually get it. But mostly what you get is the Peru balsam. It's very, very oriental, very spicy, warm, dark, mysterious, perfectly unisex, and it has a better performance than the other one. So this has a very nice performance and has a moderate sillage. I am really torn about this fragrance because I love it, and at the same time I can't imagine myself wearing it. So I would recommend this one if someone loves balsamic fragrances or loves jasmine and balsamic fragrances. I mean, this will be amazing for you. If you love also a little bit of a dark, mysterious vibe or uniqueness, also this will be perfect for you. You will just have to wait for the dry down because really the opening was for me too aggressive, very medicinal, herbal. I didn't like it. Wait for the dry down is when the magic happens. So that was Wood Jasmine. Next, I have another very unique oriental spicy fragrance, and this is Tabac Rose. I like this one a lot. This, as the name suggests, has a lot of tobacco and rose. You get also the cinnamon here. So intoxicating. So again, a fragrance for someone who wants to smell unique. Again, unisex, leaning a little bit masculine. But women can pull this off if you like tobacco. I really get a little bit of oud here, but it's not in the list. It has some souriness to it. So intoxicating. And longevity on this one is really, really good. It lasts for a really long time. I would recommend this more for winter, like cold weather, because it really is a fragrance that will cut through the cold. If you are on the hunt of a unique fragrance, check this one out. Next is Citrus Riviera, and this is again a summer fresh fragrance. So in the BDK collections, they have two fresh summer fragrances, Sal Darshan and this one. I do prefer this one, but it's different. So the other one was a salty aquatic. This is your citrus, as the name suggests. So you get neroli, mandarin, lemon. It also has some watery notes, patchouli, vetiver, eucalyptus. Has a lot of notes, and I actually like it. Is it unique? No. Unfortunately not. But again, it's very difficult to come out with a unique, fresh, citrusy summer fragrance. I like it. Longevity and sillage is what you would expect from this kind of fragrance. So that was Citrus Riviera. Next is Rouge Smoking. I'm actually wearing it today. I know this is a favorite again of a lot of people, and this is an oriental gourmand with a lot of cherry, tonka, vanilla. It's quite sweet, but not sickly sweet. It's not cloying. It's warm, it's cozy. It gives me a little bit of Christmas vibes. I don't know why. A quite nice, very smooth, pleasant, warm fragrance. I would wear this in winter time. Unisex, but leaning quite feminine. I really like it. The only thing about this one is again the longevity. Actually, for an Oriental gourmand, you would expect it to last really long. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It lasts on my skin for about 4 hours, and then it becomes almost a skin scent. The other thing about this fragrance, this is why it's not high on my list, is it lacks something. It needs a punch. I don't know, an oomph, something to it. So when I hear the name Rouge Smoking, I get more of spiciness to it, something that gives it an oomph. And it isn't. And it's just not there. And this is why it's not up on my list. So this was Rouge Smoking. Next is Pasu. And this is your sexy, fruity, fun, playful fragrance. This is totally feminine. At first, so if you watched my first impression video, this was my number 1. Now it's number 3, just because on my skin it becomes sickly sweet. It reminds me a lot of Jean Paul Gaultier Label. Not that they are similar, but it's the same vibe. So if you like Label, you would love this one. Very playful, very fun, flirty, sexy. It has quince, and you also get the orange blossom here. I also get vanilla, although I think there is no vanilla in the notes when I checked on Fragrantica. It really reminds me a lot of Label from Jean Paul Gaultier, and I do love Label. Has moderate sillage and average performance. So if you are looking for a sexy, fruity fragrance, check this one. Next is Bouquet Bonjour, and this is so lovely. So this is the opposite of Pasu. This is a feminine, delicate, romantic kind of a fragrance. Oh, so beautiful. It's a floral, musky fragrance. You get some fruitiness in the top, but it's a more of a floral fragrance. Rose and jasmine with musky undertones. So it's almost fragile. Like it's so delicate that it's almost a fragile fragrance. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, it's a very delicate, fragile perfume. When I smell it, I get more of a pastel color image to my head. It's actually my favorite one from BDK, but this is a skin scent. So no sillage, and longevity, it will last for about 2 hours maximum, and then it just disappears, at least on my skin. So for the price, I just can't recommend it, but I love it. So if you are a person who loves skin scents and doesn't mind to like spray again and again a fragrance, check this one. It's so nice. If you like A La Rose from MFK and this kind of a vibe, I think you will like this kind of a scent. But as I said, you will have to spray it again and again to make it last. So that was Bouquet Bonjour. Now let's go to my number 1, and it's Tuberose Imperial. Oh, so good. You will have, as the name suggests, this is a tuberose fragrance. So this is for someone who really loves tuberose. I am not the biggest fan of tuberose, but this one, yes, I do like a lot. It's almost a bubblegum tuberose, and it reminds me a lot of Vert Malakit. I compared them side by side. So if you don't know Vert Malakit, it's a creamy jasmine, and this is a creamy tuberose. This one is a little bit more shy and not projecting so much like Vert Malakit, and also not so long lasting like the Armani one. On your skin, it has an average longevity, but if you spray this on your clothes, it remained for days, like really days. It was quite impressive. It's very heavy on the tuberose, but it also has jasmine, ylang ylang, so you get a little bit of this tropical vibe to it. But mostly this is an oriental tuberose. It has benzoin, cashmere, vanilla, sandalwood. Very creamy, very enveloping. I adore it. But again, you have to love tuberose to appreciate this fragrance. So that was my last fragrance. Now let's talk about the house in general. I'm quite impressed. They have a lot of very unique fragrances like Tabac Rose, like Wood Jasmine. I really like the story behind the brand. I really like how they associate every fragrance with like a story. So not always when you smell the fragrance, you do associate it with the story, but I like the idea in general. Price-wise, I find it not very up there, so it's not your most expensive niche brand. It even competes with the private lens from designer houses. So you get a 100 ml bottle for a reasonable price for a niche brand. My overall opinion of this brand is quite positive. The fragrances that I really liked were quite unique and fragrances that I didn't smell before. The only things that I noticed about the house in general, a lot of fragrances do lack longevity and sillage. And sillage is not an issue for me. But if I am buying a niche fragrance, I do look for longevity. Yeah, that was everything. I hope you liked this video and I hope it was helpful. And if it did, please give it a thumb up and consider subscribing to my channel. I do a lot of fragrance review here. Also reviews of whole houses and lines like this one. So if this is something interesting to you, then please consider subscribing and also hit the notification bell so you will get notified when I upload a new video. See you next time.